With Chris Jericho saying Dynamite will beat Raw in the ratings and CM Punk talking about AJ Lee returning to in-ring action. This is Wrestling Up. My name is John and you're watching the Wrestling Report for September 5th. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Up and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. When the Wednesday Night Wars were going on between AEW Dynamite and NXT, photos and videos of those on NXT watching Dynamite began to circulate. Speaking to sitting ringside, Tony Khan mentioned that he was surprised to learn this. "We just do our shows and keep AEW as strong as possible. The competition is going to change and there will be different competition on different nights and it will always be a battle as long as we're healthy because they are going to be around for a long time. Whether it was the launch of Dynamite or Rampage, we have to focus on ourselves and put our best foot forward for fans rather than think about what other people are doing. I've heard that when we were on head-to-head on Wednesday nights, our competition was watching our show in Gorilla. They had a monitor with it on. That blows my mind. I have never once, this is the 100th episode of Dynamite this week. In 99 episodes, I have never once had another wrestling show on in Gorilla or thought about what anyone else is doing. We have so much going on with our show, I can't be thinking about counter-programming. We have to put on our best program. With the wars over and NXT being revamped, we'll have to see what adjustments are made for WWE's tertiary brand. With him set to make his in-ring debut for AEW, CM Punk spoke to Renee Paquette about his time in WWE and his current run in AEW, revealing how he and Orange Cassidy shared similarities. I think too often there's, I don't get it off TV, and I'm like, I don't get it. I've used Orange Cassidy, who I think at dinner the other night ate my sea bass, so there's real heat there. But that's the thing I look at and I go, I don't get it, but I listen to the people, and they react to him, and they like him. So I'm like, hell yeah, why would we throw that in the garbage? And it just reminds me of when I showed up there and those same people were like, I don't get it, and I'll be like, well, you're 65 and you're racist, so I guess I'm super stoked that I'm not for you, and you don't get it. It's not for me to get, it's for the audience to get, you know? Orange Cassidy has become a fan favorite in AEW as his eventual clash with Punk would serve fans well. After having his final NXT match at TakeOver 36, Adam Cole is now a free agent. On his Hall of Fame podcast, Booker T said Cole heading to AEW is a no-brainer given his girlfriend Britt Baker is already there. With Cole, I know the guy's talent. I know, like I said, as far as having the guy on my team, Cole is going to be one of those guys that I really want to keep on my team. There again, will he be a huge asset somewhere else? Of course. Will he be happy working alongside his girlfriend? Come on. That's a no-brainer to be able to go home together at the same time when you get off work, to be able to spend time together rather than have two totally different schedules in one company and the other. That right there can be taxing in itself. So that's a lot of things Adam Cole has got to think about as far as his future goes, but I'm sure he will make the right decision. Cole is not under a non-compete clause for WWE, so he could show up on AEW programming at any time. While the Wednesday Night Wars have long since ended, the competition between AEW and WWE could just be getting started. Speaking to Wrestling Inc., Kurt Angle touched on the differences separating these promotions, with him mentioning pressure from shareholders for WWE to remain PG. I think that the shareholders put a lot of pressure on the big man to tell him keep everything PG rated, gear it more for younger kids, that's where the merchandise is. WWE, their theory is if the kids are watching it, the parents are watching it too, and the parents are going to pay for the merchandise for the kids, and they're going to pay to go see the events, so they do have the right theory on it, but they're losing the young adults. The 18 to 40 year olds that WWE had during the Attitude Era, that's more the way AEW's direction is right now. They're swearing on the air, they're putting up the middle fingers, it's more of an Attitude Era attitude. With Daniel Bryan reportedly signed to and expected to make his debut for AEW, in that same interview, Kurt Angle said he was shocked WWE let Bryan go. I'm really surprised at that. I never thought that WWE would let him go. Daniel was a big part of the company for the past 10 or so years. He was literally the top babyface in the company for a few years, so I'm really surprised they let him go. But Daniel was probably happier in AEW for whatever reason. I don't know if it was money or if he wasn't happy with the direction of his character, but it had to be something that made him leave. Bryan's AEW debut is rumored to be taking place tonight at All Out, which would be a treat for fans watching. AEW has been gaining a ton of momentum with huge signings. This has generated so much fan interest that Chris Jericho thinks Dynamite will beat Monday Night Raw in the ratings, saying this on Busted Open Radio. Sooner or later, we're going to start beating Raw. It's not going to be every week, but I bet you over the next 2 to 4 months, maybe 4 to 6, we're going to start beating Raw, and that's my prediction that I'm saying to you guys right here. And the reason for that is we keep talking about the cool factor, but it's the storytelling. We don't panic, we don't rush. We live in our own world and we book accordingly. We book smartly. If you watch our show, it's like watching the first 3 Star Wars episodes. One thing always leads to the next, and sometimes you'll see where these seeds were planted months earlier, but we always know what we want to do and where we want to go. While CM Punk did recently shoot down rumors of AJ Lee making a return to pro wrestling, he spoke on WFAN's Moose and Maggie about his wife coming back to the squared circle. I would love to see it. I get asked that question every single time I do an interview and I love it. I absolutely love it. I don't think she wants to do it because she's a teeny tiny person and she has a bad neck. I think the shelf life for females in wrestling a full schedule is a lot shorter. It's a lot smaller than men. I think she's so focused on what she's doing, writing screenplays. She's working on a million different projects, being pulled in so many directions. I think she would probably maybe be receptive to the idea of coming back, but that can't even enter her vocabulary right now. She's so focused on the movie scripts and TV adaptation of a book she's working on. AJ Lee is credited for kickstarting the women's revolution in WWE, as her coming back to wrestling would be great for fans and a bonus for any promotion that signs her. With her missing a couple live events leading up to SummerSlam and then missing the pay-per-view itself, Sasha Banks has not been seen on TV. Recently, Instagram user Katia M. Torres uploaded several photos taken backstage from SmackDown, with Sasha included. Fightful would confirm Banks was at the event, but noted they have not been told of any creative plans at the moment for Banks. The belief is that Banks will be returning to TV at next week's SmackDown in New York City. And this was your pro wrestling news update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.